afternoon everyone, welcome back to the Nature Patch. My name is Robyn and thank you so much for joining in on another video. Today's video is super exciting because I'm going to be harvesting all of my potatoes that I've planted in the garden. I did a little bit of a calculation and the potatoes that I'm going to be harvesting today, which are the Dutch cream potatoes, have been in the ground for exactly 126 days. And that's kind of the recommended time that you should keep these potatoes in the ground for. Growing potatoes in southeast Queensland is a little bit challenging just because we do have quite a very warm and humid climate, but I think I have the timing right. I planted these potatoes back in June, in the middle of June, and that seemed to be a pretty good time to plant potatoes. We are a little bit inland of Brisbane, so we do get those nice cool nights, which I do think definitely helped with growing potatoes. I do have a video of when I planted these exact potatoes that I will link down in the description box if you want to see how we planted them and what we used in terms of fertilizer. Because it's my first time growing potatoes, I really am just learning, and this has been a really awesome learning experience for me. But I did follow all of the normal steps that you should when planting potatoes, making sure that there's a lot of organic matter in the soil. We did fertilize it with dynamic lifter or chicken poo basically when we planted these, just in a pelletized form. And then I did give it another round of that same fertilizer pretty much when all of the tops were starting to come up, and I have mounded these up over time. I probably mounded them up twice or so. I could have done more, but I just wanted to see how they went with a few different mounds up. Next to these potatoes, I've also planted Otway Reds. I planted these about a few weeks after the Dutch creams, and they haven't done as well. So I think planting them in the middle of June was really good to kind of make sure that we had all of that cooler temperatures, which potatoes seem to like. They have definitely all pretty much come to an end in terms of their growing. A lot of the plants are starting to die back now, some pretty much completely. They were looking fantastic at one point where they had all of their flowers come through, and just after they were flowering, I did have a little bit of a dig around and pulled up one plant in which we had some gorgeous little potatoes. But because I wanted them to get a little bit bigger, I waited until the rest were kind of all died back. One thing I did notice, we were getting a few pests towards the end. It didn't really seem to harm the way the potatoes have formed though, which is really great. But I did notice some of the ladybugs around were definitely eating a lot of the foliage on the plant, and I still do see quite a few in there. But that's fine, most of them are going to come out today. But I am just going to set the camera up and maybe get Scott to get a few more shots as well. And yeah, I'm just going to pull them all out of the ground and see what we get. I have a tray there that I'm hoping that we can semi-fill. I have no idea how many potatoes are going to be in the ground, so I'm super excited to have a look. If you do like harvest videos, make sure to like this video and subscribe for lots more garden content, because I try and put out 2 videos a week all about gardening and garden with me style videos, and I always love receiving feedback on how the videos are. All right, let's get digging. Alright, this is all of the potatoes that we dug out of these 2 rows. I planted about 15 seed potatoes 126 days ago. They were all about this size, and you can see that in the video. And we have a lot. A few things that I did notice, and I'm really glad that we pulled them out of the ground when we did. Some of them were just getting a little too large, and they were getting a little bit too mature as well and starting to sprout. So you can kind of see this one here is starting to sprout up the top, and so I'm just going to go through all of these that are starting to sprout and just eat these ones first. Dutch creams are so delicious. They're a really good all-rounder potato. I find they're really creamy and buttery, so my favorite way to eat them is just by roasting them. I'm sure they'd make really good mashed potato as well, but some of my favorite meals are just so simple, having roast vegetables, and these are amazing with a lot of olive oil and salt and pepper on them. So we are going to have some of these with our dinner tonight, but I think we got a really good different mix of different sizes. Some are a lot smaller, some are kind of mid-size. So the larger ones we might use for mashed potato. This is probably around my favorite size of potato for these ones. I did notice that a lot of the larger ones were down towards the end of the bed. Obviously they were getting a lot more water and nutrients rather than the ones kind of up the top. So I'll know that for next time, but all around I'm pretty happy with the harvest that we got. We did already harvest about 3 of the plants, so there was a little bit more than this, but yeah, overall first time growing potatoes, I'm really happy. So I'm going to let a lot of these sit. Ideally you want to have these in a cool dark place. Being in southeast Queensland, it isn't really cool, but I am going to be putting these in the pantry and just letting them cure a little bit. These aren't probably going to last that long. I am going to share them with some family as well, just because they're so delicious. But you do want to let them cure a little bit if you are storing them, and what that does is just let the skin harden up a little bit, and that just makes them keep longer for storage. I can see now if I brush the skin a little bit, you can kind of see some of the skin was starting to come back a little bit, and I did spear some of them, and it just shows that the skin is quite soft on these potatoes at the moment. Potato harvests are definitely some of my favorite videos to watch, so if you did enjoy this, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, and hopefully I'll have kind of a similar harvest, probably not as epic as this, with the Otway Reds. I don't have too high hopes for those, but we'll see if we get some more potatoes from those. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and until my next video, happy gardening everyone. Bye!